Fast of 17 of Tammuz is at this time, this weekend. The Mishnah, the sages tells us that 5 sad events happened in Jewish history during that day. Number 1, according to our tradition, the biblical Moses broke the first tablets. That act took place on this day, the 17th day of month of Tammuz. Second one is the story of Menashe, the wicked king of Judah, later on in the Tanakh. He brought tselem and an idol to the temple. They said that also during the era of the second temple, the wall of Jerusalem breached that day, which later on led to the Tisha B'Av, the burning of the temple. At that time it was a daily offering that stopped that day. And number 5, it was a evil minister, a Syrian Greek minister by the name of Apostamos, that he, according to our record, burned the Sefer Torah at that day, at 17 of Tammuz. So today, very appropriately, we're going to deal at the first stage with the instruction the Almighty gave to Yechezkel, the prophet Ezekiel, on Ezekiel chapter 12, and he told him, prepare yourself for exile. Show the people that you're preparing yourself for exile so they know what's coming. For sure, that's not the only subject of today. We're also going to speak about the continuation of the subject of healing, who, what, where, when, and how, when it's involved to healing other people. So today we're going to study page 41, but we start on the very bottom of page 40b. Amar Rabbi Ami, Amar Rav, some said Rabbi Avin Amar Rav, Mai dechti ve'ata ben adam, aseh lecha klei gola, you son of man, prepare for yourself an implement of exile. So what does that mean, preparing something for the exile? So in general, the idea is that God asked Ezekiel to prepare himself to show people that he's ready for exile, ready to move out. And it's all because of their bad deed. So in a way, it's connected to the previous sugya, because the previous one we talk about the shatiach, the mat, that it's part of the klei galut. There is another option said, since we have a memra by the name of Ravin on memra by Rav Ami, so it's connected. Anyway, so he told him zoner, so he have a candle to lead to the eve time, uke'ara, and a bowl. The purpose of the bowl, either some said for food or some said to drink. Veshatiach 41. Veshatiach, which the Ran said is a leather mat. It's the Tosfot said that it's something that carried by the wayfarers, or the Rosh said in order to sleep. Anyway, since we speak about the situation of the exile and the needs for all kind of basic for survivor, here we mention some lines from the series of admonition. As we know, in the book of Deuteronomy, in chapter 28, there are long lists of admonition what happened during the exile. So they use the word bechoser kol. It said, which means nothing. That's time that we work for the enemies and we don't have anything. So the idea is choser kol is anything, but here we go for the details. Amar Rabbi Ami, Amar Rav, belo ner ubelo shulchan. They don't have a lamp, they don't have a table. Rav Chizda Amar belo isha. that they have no wife. So they, as we learn in Kiddushin 29, that it's like to save a person from evil inclination, it's the idea to have a wife. Rav Sheshet Amar velo shamash, says without an assistant. Rav Nachman Amar belo de'ah, without having the level of comprehension, not to understand, because if you remember, we studied it several times, that without understanding, it's nothing. Tana belo melach ubelo revav. There's a school of thought that said that it's without salt, without grease. Amar Abaye, because that's bring the Yun Yaakov says that's bring the taste of a food. Amar Abaye, naktinan, we learn ein ani ela bedde'ah. Who is poor? There's someone with lack of understanding. So the Kotzker Rebbe asked a question. We said, Yosif dat, Yosif machov. King Solomon said in the Proverbs that one who adds more knowledge carries more pain. So he said, even though it's carry pain, it's good, because that's the goal. Tachlit ha'adam ba'olamo. That's the goal of a person. B'ma'arava, in Eretz Israel, they said in Bava Batra 158 that that's the spirit, the air of Eretz Israel, bring wisdom. Amrei dedaba kulaba. One was the wisdom and understanding of everything. Delot dava mabe dakane machaser dilokane makane. That's what we said every day in our morning prayer. Choneinu meitcha. Please God, bring us the wisdom of understanding, to understand a lot of things that we suffer. It's because we don't get it, we don't understand the deep meaning. Now we're back to the subject of health and reasons for health, or the subsequent of process of healing. Number one, it's the erase the iniquities of the person as a result of suffering. I remember my late father-in-law, may he rest in peace. He get at the age of 50 sudden cancer in his brain. So I went to the Hadassah hospital the first Motzei Shabbos to see him, and one of the things he said at that time is that it's better to be punished here and to finish here with all things that need to be taken care of, so when he goes there, he's free of iniquities. Amar Rabbi Alexandri, Amar Rabbi Chia bar Abba, Ein hachole omed mecholyo, meaning a person will not reach the point of being reborn. So the Maharal said that it's all part of that process. Is like good for a person in a sense to be healed after, to impose in a way sickness, so then you'll be healed. Ad shemochalin lo al kol avonotav, meaning in heaven they forgive his sins. Shne'emar, because it said in this Tehillim in Psalm 103, Hasoleach lechol avonaichi, God who forgive all your sins. Harofe, God who heals, lechol tachluaichi, for all of you sicknesses, all of you diseases. So the Meiri explained that basically when a person reach that excruciating pain or suffering, he or she usually incur with teshuva. They start to reflect their lives, they make a self-search, and they're thinking. There is a book by Louise Hay, excellent book, about how a person should heal himself. So part of that is the idea that you have a self-reflection, the meaning of your life, and that's part of the process. Or just simple way that by being suffering, that's part of cleansing. There is a story about the Bel Zareve, the Sar Shalom, that he was so tzaddik, was righteous, that he was able to touch the part of the body that people complain about and heal them. So they said that's the idea, harofeh lechol tachlu'aychi, that God who gives life, who can take away life. God who impose can take it. Anyway, number 2, return to a person youth. Rav Amnuna Amar chozer liyimei alumav. He said that he returns to the day of his youth. Shene'emar, Rut tafash besaro minoar yashuv liyimei alumav. He said in the book of Job, chapter 33, his skin will be surprisingly fresh, more than in childhood. He shall return to the days of his youth. So he will be healthier than he was before. Number 3, that a person sometimes, as a result of medication or suffering, forget what he studied. So they said, Kol mishkavo hafachta becholyo, which means, they said in Psalm 4, the God will support him upon the bed of suffering. You overturn all his lying down in his illness. What does that mean? Amar Rav Yosef, lomar dimshakeach limudo, which means that the sick person forgets his studies, as everything that is organized is overturned. So it basically, in the language of the Gemara here, is like an allegorical language. That it means that all the order of understanding everything turn around when he is ill. Now, the source, Rav Yosef Chalash. Rav Yosef turned ill, took ill. I'akar le limudei, or the Ran said I'akar. Unfortunately, he forgot his studies. Ahadrei Abayei Kamei. Abayei, his student, came back and refreshed his memories. Hainu, the Bechol Duchta Amrinan Amar Rav Yosef, Lo Shmiya li Hadashmata. Every place you see said, a statement, Rav Yosef said, I've never heard this teaching, and then right away you hear the word Amar le'Abaye atamridan ni'alan u'mehamatnitan u'inan ni'alan, and then Abaye said, you said this teaching to us, and it was based on the bright that you said it. So you see it in this change occurred in a few places in the Talmud. So in a sense, Rabbi Yosef, unfortunately, is part of the consequence of his illness. He forgot his study, and because of that, he have this Abaye that restored the teaching. It's a book called Imri Shammai. It's a relative of my brother-in-law. He was the Shamash, the assistant of the Ger Rebbe, so he wrote a book, Imri Shammai. And he said when he wrote that book, because he was ill, at the time of illness he started feeling that he's forgetting things. So he wrote that book to keep his mind sharp, and it turned to be very, very basic book that he used today. Ki hava gamir Rabbi tlat esrei apei hilcheta. When Rabbi Yehuda Nasi completed or learned 13 version of early Mishnah, so the Maharsha elaborate why 13. Agmer el Rabbi Chia shiv'a minhon, 7 from them he delivered to taught Rabbi Chia. Lesof chalash Rabbi. Later, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi turned ill and he forget his study at all the 13. Ahadar Rabbi Chia kamei, the same story. Rabbi Chia repeats it to him. Hanhu shiv'a apei de agmerei shita azdu, which means the 7 that Rabbi learned, he have 6 that he forget. Ahu hava katzra it was laundryman. Hava shmiya le-rabbi kedehava garis lo. He heard the rabbi when he studied. So if you remember, we studied in Tractate Nedarim, page 103b, that this laundryman used to come before Rabbi every day, and the day of his passing he didn't come. And when he heard that everyone was present, when Rabbi passed, was invited to come, he went on the roof and killed himself. So, and then the voice came and said that he's also welcome to world to come. That's the parsha. Anyway, Azal Rabbi Chia v'Gemarrah yaton kamei katzra ve'ata ve'adar yaton kamei Rabbi. So he basically repeated. Rabbi Chia went and learned them before the laundryman, the way he taught Rabbi Chia the 6 missing version, and Rabbi Chia came back and received them before Rabbi restoring them to him. So it's a story about the Chazon Ish, the great Rabbi Karelitz, that he was ill, and he asked his sister, the wife of Rav Kanievsky, the first one, to open the Gemarrah and read to him, and she hardly read this Gemarrah. So he said, don't worry, just by mentioning some lines, he was already be able to process all the studies. Anyway, Kadhava Chazei Rabbi Lau Katzra. When the Rabbi noticed this laundryman, Amar le Rabbi, Ata asita oti ve'ed chia. He said, Rabbi, you made me en chia because of the Torah that you taught us, so you gave us life. It's like you created us. Ika de Amrei, there is another version what happened. They said, Ata asita et chia v'chia asa oti. Meaning you teach Rabbi Chia, and Chia teaches me. So, because he basically delivered what we learned from, what he learned from you. The Maharal and Ben Yoyada said that you can derive from that an important lesson. If a student is obligated to honor his teacher, of his teacher, the same as his teacher, even he never learned directly from him. So according to the first version, that the laundryman said that he made him, so it's like he learned from him and he needs to honor him. But the second one, that he made only Rabbi Chia, so Rabbi is not considered his student, and therefore he is not obligated on his honor. But anyway, most of the rabbis hold that even the teacher of your teachers, you're still responsible to honor them. ואמר רבי אלכסנדרי, אמר רבי חייא בר אבא, נס גדול נעשה לחולה יותר מן הנס שנעשה לחנניה, מישאל ועזריה. There is a story in the book of Daniel about the 3 righteous people by the name of Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. They walk in the fire and they survive. So they said that the miracle happened to average person is more than them. The book of Daniel, the first chapter, is a story about 4 righteous people, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, that they was selected to serve the Babylonian king, and after they finished 3 years training, Nebuchadnezzar have a dream, and nobody can interpret a dream, and Daniel pray, and he knows the solution of his dream. So he told Nebuchadnezzar the explanation, and as a result, these 3 become ministers, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. But then Nebuchadnezzar make a huge golden sculpture idol, and he asked people to bow down, and he said whoever not doing that, he sent him to fire, and he sent these 3, because people informed that Hananiah and Mishael and Azariah refused to do it, and then they went to the fire, and it was angel of God that saved them. So they walk out the fire like nothing happened. So they said that someone who's healed from his sickness is highest miracle than the miracle that happened to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. The reason, של חנניה, מישאל ועזריה, אש של הדיוט. The fire that was created for them was human that lit up a fire. והכל יכולים לכבותה, which means everyone can extinguish it. וזו של חולה, של שמיימי, but when a person turned ill, that's from heaven, that the Almighty created that. ומי יכול לכבותה, and who is that can douse it other than God himself? So since it's not in human control, so you need a special highly power to extinguish it. So therefore, when it occurred and a person is healed, the miracle is greater than the miracle by Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. The Maharal explained that you have to remember the difference how often this type of miracle happen. The idea that a person get healed, it has to be a highest power. It's in England, there is a religious doctor that have a reputation for, beside of being a regular physician, but it's a big healer. And one of the important Rabbanim in London said once, I don't think it was a joke, I think it was serious. He said that he believed that angel Raphael, the angel of healing, is with that doctor when he goes and treated patients. Anyway, ואמר רבי אלכסנדרי, אמר רבי חייא בר אבא, ואמר לה, אמר רבי יהושע בן לוי. Now it's a frightening statement. כיוון שהגיע קיצו של אדם, when in heaven they make a decision that the person need to die, הכל מושלים בו. He cannot control the situation. Any creature can subdue him in order to bring him to his death. Can be people, human, animals, anyone, the one said. שנאמר, because they said about Cain, beginning of Bereshit, in Genesis chapter 4, והיה כל מוצאי יהרגני. He said to God, whoever meets me will kill me. So over there, the story that God bestowed on Cain a special a horn top of his head for protection, it means that when a person's time comes, he cannot control it. It can be in any emissary of God. Rav Amar min hadein kra, we learn from the line in the book of Tehillim, Psalm 119, למishpatecha amdu hayom, for you decree upon they all stood for judgment today, ki hakol avadecha, for all are your servant. So it means when a person times come, they are all become a servant of God to fulfill his decree. Rabba bar Shila אמרו לי שכיב גברה גבוה. Very tall person passed away. How? הווה רכיב גרדונה זוטרה. A person was ride a small female mule. מצא תיתורה. They reach a bridge. הסתווית. The mule went mad. שדיי. So she threw the rider, which is very unusual, to the river. וקש אחיו, and he passed, which is very weird. Imagine you have a small mule, you have a tall, strong person, and all of a sudden, boom, she threw him on a back and threw him to the river. קרי על נפשי למשפטיך עמדו היום. That's what he said. Rabbi Bar Shila said, applied this verse, they are ready to fulfill your decree upon those who have stood for judgment today, for all are you servants. Meaning that sometimes a person not even aware that they are all servants of God, Ben Yoela said, and sometimes those you never anticipated. Shmuel Chazyei Leahu Krokita de Akreba. יתיבה על הקורקטה ועברה נהרה. He saw a scorpion that was sitting atop of a female frog. Again, you have a frog, you have a scorpion. Imagine the size, right? ועברי נהרה, and was crossing the river using the frog as a ferry, right? So it's because the scorpion cannot swim by itself, so the frog was basically the ferry to help to cross, right? Tarka gavra, so the scorpion saw a person and bite him, umayet, and that person passed. קרא עלי, שמואל called that person, למשפטיך עמדו היום. Same line. He says, for the decree upon those who have stood today, for your judgment. In Lithuania, there was a story, well-known story. It was a person that was a well-known wicked person. Those years, they used to have horses and wagon. So he on purpose used to go on Shabbat and go around the community and basically make fun of Shabbat observant, etc. So one time he did it, and while he's doing that, all of a sudden the horse and the wagon turned against him, roll it, and he died. So people start to analyze how that happened, why the horse went wild, and why it happened that way, and why he get killed. So the rabbi said, that's what we said every day in Psalm 20, Eile barechev, there are those who said that it's because of the wagon, Ve'eile basusim, and there are those who said it's because of the horses, Va'anachnu b'shem Hashem Elokeinu nazkir, but we say the truth, that it's the God's decision. God had many emissaries. Now we back to a subject we discussed in the previous dapim, which is the value of visiting sick people. אמר שמואל, אין מבקרין את החולה, אלא למי שחלצתו חמה. Shmuel said the mitzvah of visiting the sick applies to them who rap with serious fever. So it means that he's still ill. There are those who say that it stopped the fever. Anyway, לאפוקי מאי, what do you mean? לאפוקי דתניא רבי יוסי בן פרטה אומר משום רבי אליעזר, אין מבקרים, you don't visit לא חולה מעיים, not people who have intestinal diseases, ולא חולי העין, and not people who suffer from eye diseases, ולא מחושי הראש, and not those who have headaches. בישלמה חולה מעיים משום כיסופה, we understand why you should not visit intestinal diseases because the embarrassment. אלא חולי העין ומחושי הראש מאיתם, but those who suffer from eye diseases and headache, why you don't visit them? משום דרב יהודה דאמר רב יהודה דיבורה קשיא לעינה. Rav Yehuda said that talking, it's a speech is harmful for the eye. ומעלה לאשתה, but beneficial for fever. So, because usually what happens is when you have a visitor, they have a conversation. And in the conversation, it's not always healthy. There's discussion among the rabbis what exactly the level of temperature it's considering a danger for a person. But it's clear that it's proper to go and visit. Amarava ha'ishta, the heat of the fever, ilav de favranka de malacha demota. If it was not for the fact that an agent of the angel of death, ma'alei, it will be as a beneficial for a person. 41b, kechizra lediklei, like thorns for palm tree. The same way as the thorn prevents people, an animal, from touching and ruining the dates. So the fever has big advantages because the fever, it's an expression of a body's self-defense, some said. So chad lediklei chad letlatin yom, יומין, וכי תירקי לגופה, so it's like antidote for poison in the body. רב נחמן, is a opposite view, רב נחמן בר יצחק אמר לא היא ולא תירקה. I don't want neither one of them, right? Because he believed that it can endanger the life of a sick person. So what's a good food for a sick person? אמר רבא בר יונתן אמר רבי חיאל, ארסן יפה לחולה לרפואתו. He said that arsan is good for the person's illness. My arsan, אמר רבי יוחנן חושלה דשערי עתיקתא דריש נפיה. He said this is the old barley from the beginning of the sifting process. אמר אביי, בעיין בישולה כאין ביסרא דתורה. We have very serious, extensive cooking in order that to be a strong and effective, the same way as you need a long time cooking of meat from an ox. רב יוסף אמר, סמידי דשערי עתיקתא דריש נפיה. Rabbi Yosef said that it's the fine flour, the arsan, is smida, is ground from an old barley from the beginning of the sifting process. Amar Abaye, Be'inan, Ba'ayan bishula ki b'sira de Torah. The same way as the ox, you need extensive cooking. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, bordam ein mevakrim ve'en mazkirim shmo. So he said that someone who suffers from bordam, you don't visit, you don't mention name. My tama, what's the reason? Amar Rabbi Lazar, mipnei shu kamayan anovea. It's like flowing a spring of blood, that person. So it's like ואמר רבי אלעזר, למה נקרא שמו בורדם? Why it's called בורדם? So שו כמעיין הנובע, it's like a flowing spring, bottomless pit of blood. ומרפאהו רפואת הנפש. So the Mishnah said that if they have two people, one makes a vow that he have no business with any others. So they said he can heal him with mental needs, but not with monetary. Monetary, soon you see, is taking care of of the animals' needs. Hey katane, what does that mean? Ileima dirfuat nefesh bechinam. If you tell me that he does the refuat nefesh, which is a mental, but not cure of, which is no cost, refuat mamon besachar, but the other one, it's a cure of property, he gets a payment. Litne hachi, we should use the language as follows: merap'ehu bechinam, avalo besachar. He may heal him for free, but not to receive payment. Ela, you have to say, the Mishnah speaks about that the one whose madir is rofeh, and the one who recipient of the vow is the sick person. Refuat nefesh gufo. When you speak about the physical, the patient's body. Refuat mamon be'emto. Monetary healing, that's applied to the animal of the fellow. So Mishnah wants to tell us that the one who heal, one who make the vow, he is obligated to help him. So the Rambam, in explanation of the Mishnayot, explained based on Gemarrah in Sanhedrin 73, the Torah required to return a loss. You remember in the Torah they said, if you walk and you see a donkey of your enemies and need to be loaded, you have to help the person even it's your enemy, right? That is the same way as returning a loss. Even the person you don't like, you have to return the loss you found, right? So the same here. So he fulfilled a mitzvah and he derive benefit, but he cannot do a healing of his animals. So the Rosh explained, even the place that they paid for that, he cannot allowed to do it. In general, we speak about the place that there is another vet that can help with his animal, because otherwise it's like returning a lost item that the Gemarrah said in 33, that the vet is obligated. The Ran explained is like returning a lost. The Rabbi Akiva Iger challenged that, and he said that it's like, in a way, mavriach hari, like you are basically giving something that belongs to him. Anyway, אמר רב זוטרא בר טוביה אמר רב, אבל אומר לו, שם פלוני יפה לה, שם פלוני רע לה. But he can say to a person, this medicine is good, beneficial, this medicine is harmful for the animal. It's like kind of counseling, giving an advice. So when I study it, I have a big laugh, because it appears the way it's written that in those days they don't take money for advice. And nowadays, you see the doctor showed up, it's already big bill. In those days, they only, when they do the treatment, injections, surgery, they charge. To speak, they don't. Anyway, the Taz, the Torah Zahav, asked a question. He said, the Torah said, "V'rapo yirapeh." The doctor has the obligation to heal. So he asked, is that reshut or mitzvah? Is that optional or it's a mitzvah, it's obligatory? So he said, the truth is, if a person believes in Hashem totally, so it's reshut, it's optional. But if he thinks that the whole healing depends upon the specialists, the physicians, then you need a doctor to heal him. Mishnah. Mishnah now continues to give us a list of prohibited and permitted actions between the person who make a vow and the person who is the recipient of that. Verochetz imo, and he allowed these two, Reuven and Shimon, the Mudar and Madir, they allow to take a bath be'ambatye gdola, with a large bath, so the present does not affect the other person, avalo bektana, but not in a small. Remember, those days they used that pool. V'yashen imo b'mito, he can sleep the same bed. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, b'imot hachama, in the summer you can do it, avalo b'imot hagshami pnei shu ma'aneu, but not in the winter time, because he derive benefit because he is warm him. Remember that those days, that's the one of the ways people warm each other. So he recline upon the bed, even the winter time, so because they're not warm each other. They can eat the same table, avalo min hatamchui, but not eat from the same bowl. So there are a few points. Tamchui, it's very large bowl that they put on a table and everyone partake from that. So Rabbeinu Asher, the Rosh, explains that achsenai, if you go to a lodge, to a large motel, etc., so you have sometimes a large table and two strangers, one eat dairy and one eat fleshik, right? They are strangers. So why here you have a issue? So they said, Aval ochel hu imo min hatamchui hachozer. He may eat from the bowl that returned with the leftover to the head of the household. So Maharik, Birkat Avraham, and others said, imagine like you have the person served the 4 people, bottle of soda. So in a way, each one of the attendants have a quarter of that bottle. So in that sense, whatever left over, it belongs to whom? It belongs to the owner, because everyone took his part. So then versus when it's come to tamchui, that it's not returned, because all the food split between the people, so therefore they cannot eat together. Tanya, Tosefta said, Lo yirchatz imo be'ambatei That's a repetition of what we said in the Mishnah. One may neither bath with him in a bath, ולא יישן עמו במיטה, בין גדולה בין קטנה, דברי רבי מאיר. It's not sleep with him in the bed, it's, large or small. That's the word of Rabbi Meir. רבי יהודה אומר, גדולה בימות הגשמים, קטנה בימות החמה מותר. So a large one in the winter, small one in the summer. Allowed. רוחץ עמו באמבטי גדולה, ומזיע עמו בקטנה. Again, this is the old days. They used to go to a bathhouse and they have those type of ancient sauna. So they have a sweat, right? Sweat room, right? I'm right? Sweat room. So they can do it with a sweat with him in a small one, because his presence provides no benefit to the other guy. אבל מסב עמו על המיטה. So basically, the rabbi said that there is a two view, if it's a 2 or 3 here, but the Rosh and Tosfot said is not deriving any benefit from his presence. אבל מסב עמו על המיטה ואוכל עמו על השולחן, אבל לא יאכל מן התמחוי, אבל אוכל מן התמחוי החוזר. So he is not eat from the same platter, but only the return one. אמר רבי יוסי בר חנינה, מן התמחוי החוזר לבעל הבית. From the one who is basically by the host, the master of the house, that's the one he, as we said earlier. Next Mishnah, speaking about certain item that allowed and prohibited interaction between the vower and the person subject to the vow. לא יאכל עמו מן האבוס. You should not eat with him from the large vessel of food. They use the word avus, usually it's for the animals. But the Rosh has said, and the Ran said, because people are eating in a sense, they work so hard, they labor like, in a way like animals. And they said, שלפני הפועלים, ולא יעשה עמו באומן, דברי רבי מאיר. And will not walk with him in the same row as a vineyard. That's the Rabbi Meir statement. והחכמים אומרים, עושה והוא ברחוק ממנו. He can walk the same row as he provide, that he is distance from him, because he's close, the other will derive for a forbidden benefit from him. So now, the Gemara elaborates on that. They said the disputation between Rabbi Meir and the sages. The Gemara said, Bekarov, if the one who's mudar, his walk close to the place of the madir, lo pligei de asir, no one dispute that he's prohibited to walk in a spot that is close to the vower. So it's no disputation between Rameir and Chachamim, the sages. Everyone said that it's prohibited. Dekam merapela le'ar'a kamei. Because each of them help the estate of the one before him. Kipligei, the disputation is berachok, when it's the far away from the vower. So here you have a disputation between Rabbi Meir and the sages. If he is distant, so that's not basically help the ground, it's not softer the ground. Rabbi Meir savar gazrinan rachok mishum karov. Rabbi Meir said that we put a decree that forbidden by a far spot on account of prohibition that pertain to a near spot. V'Rabbanan savrei lo gazrinan, and the sages hold that we do not issue a decree in that sense. So the Yun Baposkim is a discussion among the rabbis. What is exactly the Geder Anaha? What's the definition of deriving benefit? Take, for example, you prohibited someone from anything. You said, this guy, I have nothing to do with him. I never want to do any business with him. I never want to hear from him. I never want to go touch with him. I make a vow that he and I, whenever I see him, I go across the street, right? I have no business with him. Now, this guy is, for example, playing in a wedding that you attend. He's singing there. he is the comedian there, or he is the cantor, right, etc. So is that mean that you are prohibited to go there or not? It's a very big discussion based on this Gemara.
Shuloim, Malachai, Shuloim, Malachai.